So my name's Chris Purrington. I'm a research technician in Bosco's lab. Uh, yeah, I was a student at USC. He was one of my old professors, and shortly after I graduated, offered me a job, and so I've known him since about 2011, and yeah, worked for him for about 3 of those years, and somebody I was very close to. So I guess to give a kind of a brief history. I was a psychology student at USC. Kind of developed an interest in research. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my degree. Thought about doing therapy or whatever, but I kind of got a research interest around 2010. And probably the first time I remember hearing about Dr. Jean Bosco was basically. Well, I have an eye condition. I'm legally blind, and um, I was kind of looking into maybe there is something about my condition that would be scientifically interesting. So talked to one of my professors, and they kind of pointed me towards Bosco. And I remember sending him an email, basically saying, I'm a person with low vision. I understand that you're a vision scientist and working on low vision, and maybe we could talk sometime. And he sent me an email back pretty quickly and said, yeah, come in and be happy to talk to you. And this was back in 2010, my junior year, and I mean, it was kind of winter break, and was out of town, and I didn't really follow up at the time. So about a year later, it was my senior year, and getting ready to leave school. He was actually a professor of mine in a class that I had, and I kind of didn't really put together that he was the same person I emailed it about a year earlier. In the class it was like a computer class, cognitive psychology. So yeah, it was a computer class, and I didn't really think too much of it at the time. So I graduated 2011, psychology degree, and I needed a job, and basically I needed research experience if I was going to go to graduate school. So began the process of trying to find a lab, and I think I emailed about 50, 60 different professors around the LA area, and I think I got about 3 interviews. One of them was like a gerontology lab. Uh, One of them was like a social psychology lab that I didn't really fit it with at all, and the third was Bosco. And I remember being at the interview and talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, so what are you interested in?" And I told him pretty interested in MRI scanning, and he said, "Well, this lab, we have a research assistant position, but it doesn't really pay that much. It's only $12 an hour." And I kind of remember thinking like, "Wait, am I going to get paid to get this?" And I mean, for me, it was kind of like a moment where I was like, he's basically offering me the position, and I felt like I hadn't even really done an interview. Um, just like that. I just want to say first of all that he's somebody that I mean, he wasn't just my mentor. He was a good friend of mine. I mean, we traveled a lot. We had various scientific projects that we went to Minnesota for something, and went to Houston sometimes, and went to a few vision conferences. So, I mean, I knew the guy pretty well outside of a professional setting. And I mean, the most admirable quality for me was is just how much effort and focus he put into everything. I mean, um, this was a guy that he had so much energy. It's just, yeah, he had probably 18-hour work days, shortest. He was the kind of guy that you'd get emails from him at like 3 in the morning saying, "Hey, don't forget to do so and so." And then you'd wake up, and there'd be emails from him at 7 in the morning saying, "Oh, we got this and this going on today." So very energetic. Never, uh, I never saw him eat breakfast, or if he did, it was a very light breakfast, very light lunch, and then he just put food away for dinner. He was somebody that you'd go into a conference room with him, or conference setting, all these scientists around, and he couldn't get through a room without 5 or 6 people coming up to him and saying, "Hey, Bosco, how's it going?" and chatting him up, and I'd be with him when he was talking to these people, and I mean, like I said, it was just he put 100% into everything. If he was talking to you, he put absolutely his full attention into the conversation that you were having, and whatever you were thinking. And um, I mean, a lot of people talk past people, but he always talked to people, and I mean, he always gave 100%. I mean, he was somebody that I think if you were a complete stranger and you talked to him, you would absolutely. I mean, he'd give you all of his time. I think he should. It's tough. I mean, he was a brilliant scientist. He did a lot of great scientific research, and I always felt that there was something big coming for him. Like honestly, I I never would have thought that if I was talking to the news about him that I would be talking about his death instead of something that he did in life. I mean, but I mean, he was more than just a scientist. He was my mentor. He was somebody that really cared about the people that he was teaching and the people in his lab. He was somebody that, I mean, he wanted to see everybody at their full potential, and he thought a lot. He thought a lot about how best to mentor people and how to guide them and develop them. I mean, that was something he talked to me a lot about, not just my own development, but what kind of role a mentor has, in professional development. And I mean, I think he really loved all the students that he had. Um, and I think that's what he should be remembered for. He should be remembered for somebody that, I mean, as much work as he put into his own research, and I mean, he had some great works that, I mean, I think the majority of his work was just, the talent that he developed and the people that he enabled to do some really great things. So that's kind of how I hope he'd be remembered. I'll say this: if you told me a week ago, I absolutely wouldn't have believed anything of this. I didn't know David too well. He was in the lab. Talked to him maybe 2 or 3 times in the last year. He was quiet. Not the most friendly guy, but I mean, if he had some big conflict with Bosco, I had no inkling of it. He was at lab meetings and very respectful, and yeah, I mean, there was no sign. I mean, I saw Bosco yesterday morning, and you know, I mean, I would have, I mean, I talked to him, and it was like, he wanted to meet with me about some projects we were working on. I said, we can wait till Monday. I mean, um, I had no idea. Uh, even when I heard the news that he got killed by a student, I mean, I thought it was some random graduate student that might have been in the program. I had no idea it was somebody in our lab until about this morning. So, um, yeah, if there were signs of it coming, I didn't see them. So, well, for me it's a bit of a trip. I guess he was killed around 4:30, and at the time, that's actually the building I work at. He was killed on the 10th floor, basically at our lab. And I mean, I was at campus, but I was actually looking for housing at the time. So, about 4 o'clock, I had a big housing meeting, and so I had no idea. I had my meeting, and then I commute back to Long Beach. It's about a 2-hour commute because I take public transit, and the phone was out of battery. So I got home at about 7:30, and checked my inbox and saw there was some incident on campus, and wasn't much detail about it. Had dinner and came back to my inbox, and there was an email from an AP reporter, Associated Press, basically telling me that Bosco was killed in a fatal stabbing, and um, you know, could I call in to say something about about who he was, and that's how I found out. I mean, it's devastating. Honestly, I'll tell you this: it feels like I mean, he was just such a big impact on me as a person. I mean, not just as an aspiring scientist or a student, but as a person. It really feels like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still in shock. I can't really imagine going forward without him. It's just going to be very different. I mean, he was somebody that I'll say this: he was somebody that gave me opportunities, not just when nobody else would give me them, but I mean, without thinking about it. Without really asking for anything in return. I mean, I mean, I think he's just somebody that he really wanted people to succeed, and I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's unbelievable to me that anybody would want to do harm to him, and it's unbelievable to me that he's gone. he had a wife and a young son, and um, I haven't gotten a chance to talk to them yet, but I can't imagine what his family's going through right now. I mean, yeah, it's horrible. It's really horrible. I think he's about 9 years old. Um, very. I mean, he used to come to the lab, and when Bosco, I guess, couldn't find somebody to take care of him, he'd come to the lab and hang out. And I mean, I we had his my mom had his family over for dinner a few times. To give you an idea of what kind of guy Bosco is, I mean, I'm a scientist. I imagine you're a journalist. You kind of know with parents, parents are interested in what you do and they want to be interested, but they don't. I mean, in a lot of ways, they might not understand what you do and might not be capable of understanding. So, I mean, I talked to my mom about science, and I don't think she ever really got quite what I was doing. Um, but we'd have Bosco over, and I mean, just the way he would explain things is just unbelievable. And he was just a guy that could engage with anybody on anything, and even to my mom, who, I mean, she struggles to pay attention when it's her own son giving I mean, she connected with it in a way that he was a guy that could paint a beautiful. He was a teacher, he was a guy that could paint a beautiful picture and really get you to understand and connect with what he was saying. And there's really not many people I know. Actually, I don't think there's really anybody I know that was like that. I mean, it's a honestly, I couldn't imagine. Uh, you know, and I mean, I couldn't imagine a better person for this to happen to. It's just awful. It's just I mean, I thought it's just awful. Well, I mean, I've talked to all kinds of people that I mean, people that I knew from things that weren't science related, that they had encounters with him. And, I mean, it's not just the graduate students. He taught undergraduate classes, and I mean, he was a great professor, and he was a great friend. He was somebody that, as far as my own academic career, I've gone through a lot of mental health issues and fought through depression or something, and he was always there for me, and he was always somebody to listen. And I mean, he believed in me so much, and I just feel like I owe him so much. So I mean, he's a big part of who I am today. So anything to keep his memory alive. I mean, I guess I'm just happy to be able to represent his memory in some form, you know. And I mean, I owe it to him to, um, I owe it to him to, have a great life and and basically pass his legacy on. I mean,